Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. So friends, on this video we will have our discussion on understanding the Saturn Mahadasha and its probable outcome when it is going to be placed in different houses in our astrological chart. A lot of the times, whatsoever results we hear, we try to assess. That is somehow generalized because we know that a planet, when it gets active in its dasha, it's going to have maximum say and control in our life. So the result vary, and result basically comes from the house where that planet is placed. So in this video we will be primarily focusing on how the result could vary if Saturn is going to be active in the dasha and placed in different houses of your astrological chart. So friends, before we will start our discussion, so first we will invoke the blessings of the Lord Ganesha, who is the Hindu god of auspiciousness, good omens, and who presides over all the knowledge of mystic sciences known to humankind. So Om Vakratund Mahakaya Suryakoti Samprabha Nirvignam Kurumadeva Sarva Kareshu Sarvada. So, and also friends, we will invoke the blessing of the Shani Devata as well. So, Om Bhag Bhavai Vidmahe Mrityu Rupai Dhimahi Tanno Shani Prachodhyat. So I'm sure friends that if you have if you are connected with my community or you have been following astrology for a long span of time, you would be knowing the importance of Saturn. Saturn, which represents structure, karma, endurance, discipline, delay, responsibility, and the ultimate maturity. So it's the 19-year planetary period. The house Saturn occupies becomes the central arena where life demands total accountability. You would have heard many astrologers using this line that Saturn can delay, but Saturn never denies. The only concern is that the Saturn Dasha fits right in between two very kind of comfortable Dasha. Like Saturn Dasha comes after the Jupiter Dasha, in which people do not find much of the discomfort. A lot of the work and a lot of the goals can be achieved through ease and grace. And after the Saturn Dasha comes the Mercury Dasha, which actually tend to remain very expansive, very expressive. It's only this restrictive Saturn Dasha which a lot of the times breaks people. But I always say this thing, friends, that no doubt, the innate quality of the Saturn will remain the same. Saturn in itself is responsible for obstacle and grief. But what this grief and obstacle will make out of you, that is going to be dependent on Saturn's placement in your chart and how you use this Saturn in your life. I mean to say, we all have seen all those politicians or like mass crusaders, revolutionary people. Somehow, to any extent, whenever we talk about respect in the society or power in the society, authority in the society, Saturn has to be working favorable in your life. Along with that, friends, I have also seen many people in the Saturn Dasha. At the beginning of the Saturn Dasha, let's say, for example, if you're not living your life as per the principles of the planet Saturn, it can actually prove out to be very, like the way we say that, a sudden shock, a sudden kind of shift in your life you could experience. But once you align yourself with the Saturnian principle, Saturn Dasha can actually open many doors in your life. So the way I was talking about, Saturn forces you to confront limitations, it strips away illusions and builds sustainable long-term foundation. So in a way, wheresoever Saturn sits in your birth chart, it determines where you will face heavy lifting, delays, and lessons. And ultimately, where you will achieve lasting mastery by the end of this 19-year cycle. So this is a principle which is equally applicable. Whether we talk about the Sadisati, the whole astrology community follow this dictum that Saturn before leaving you, even in the last phase of the Sadisati, it starts showing you the path. Like the way, for example, we know that next year in 2027, when Saturn will move to the Aries sign, that means the Aquarius zodiac sign people's Sadisati will get over. And I have been getting this feedback from many Aquarius moon people that they are seeing some development in major avenues of their life. The complete development hasn't happened, but in certain cases, people are seeing the potential growth. So that is what I'm trying to say. So, okay, friends, let's start our discussion. So, the very first is that a quick revision of what we have already discussed. Saturn can be seen as the great taskmaster. So Saturn represents karma, endurance, accountability, and time. Samay. I always say this thing when people come to me that, in this dasha, this person did wrong to me. In this dasha, I lost this thing. I always say this thing that astrology is the science of understanding the pulse of the time. No one punishes you, no one rewards you. It's your running time only which rewards you or punishes you. If you are going to be running a favorable time, even your enemy or your foes will be nice to you. And once you are running a very uh, painful kind of time, even your own friends and people in your circle, your well wisher, will turn against you. So that is the only reason when you visit an astrologer, you examine, you do the assessment of the running time. What is this time demanding? And let's say, for example, if you get to know that the running time is not favorable, you do the remedies, you do the chanting, you do the anushtan, you do the ritual, you do the donation so that the time can be made favorable to you. Because people, situation, all that is attached and bound to time only. And astrology is the science of knowing and understanding the time. And Saturn represents that. So, yes, friends, during its 19-year Mahadasha, Saturn strips away illusions and forces us to confront real world limitations. Saturn does not punishes us, it demands structural integrity. The house Saturn occupies becomes a central arena for heavy lifting, patient growth, and ultimate personal mastery. So now friends, let's start our discussion with placing Saturn in different houses. And if the Saturn Dasha comes, Saturn is placed in first house, in seventh house, 11th house, how it is going to be influencing you. Now we will get to that section. Again friends, for this discussion, don't get too like struck on this note that my Saturn is in the Libra, so that means it is exalted, or my Saturn is in the Scorpio, it is in an enemy sign. Let's try to look at it in this way that where the results are coming from. Like the way the flow is filled with obstacle or it's free flowing, that is going to be a separate discussion. At least you have to understand that when this 19-year dasha will get active, which specific house and which attributes are going to be active in your life. So the very first is that, let's say for example, if you have Saturn in the first house, so we know this thing that the core focus in this dasha is going to be identity, physical body, self-image, and personal direction. Now, friends, over here, like I always say that first house, if you have to actually understand someone's personality through astrology. Now, when I say personality, here I'm not only talking about the physical constitution. Here I'm talking about the character, traits, habits, your mindset, everything. So there are like two things which give information in a Vedic astrology analysis. One is the Panchang, I mean to say the moon, nakshatra, tithi, var, and second is the planets placed in the first house. Because when we look at someone, what impression we get, what we perceive, that generally comes from the first house. So if you have Saturn in the first house, that in itself gives you a very serious, mature kind of outlook. Like here, I'm talking about once the dasha will get active, you will have this kind of potential and capacity to come across as dependable, like where you could be trusted, your shoulders, your capacity can be trusted for important big project or big responsibilities. Now when we talk about from the health perspective, this is not a very conducive placement. When we talk about any of the concerns with like working to the level to the point of exhaustion, or in certain antardasha of the Saturn Mahadasha, like being betrayed by a family or by your closed ones, all of that could be possible. Now a lot is dependent on what is your ascendant. So if you are a Scorpio ascendant, Saturn is placed in the first house. You are a Cancer ascendant, Saturn is placed in the first house, because if you are a Cancer ascendant, Saturn will be bringing the results of the seventh and the eighth house as well. So that means you have to be very much accommodating that whatsoever is happening in your life, through which what kind of reality Saturn is showing you. Because we know this thing, Saturn just makes us see the reality, something which might be very cold, something which might be very bitter, something which might be very harsh. So when you are in the Saturn Dasha, you cannot live in any illusion. Illusion is the time frame of like Rahu. When we talk about Saturn, you have to come face to face with your reality. So I would say, friends, that when Saturn gets active in the first house, certain Antardasha, like this could be Saturn, Ketu could be difficult. Even the start of the Dasha, Saturn Mahadasha, Saturn Antar is not going to be easy. Saturn Ketu, Saturn Sun, Saturn Moon could be time period of the pressure. But again, like the way I mentioned, big industrialists, big politicians, mass leaders generally become because of the support of the Saturn. And first house Saturn is supportive of that. So friends, if I were to summarize, the impact is going to be that this period will bring serious self evaluation. You may feel increased pressure, physical fatigue, or a sense that life is heavy. Early in the Dasha, self doubt or health slowdowns force you to adopt strict routines, discipline, and better physical care. Now, when we talk about the outcome, friends, so it could strip away the superficiality, transforming you into a resilient, mature, and deeply grounded individual with immense mental endurance. Now, friends, let's move to the second house. Now, let's say, for example, if your Saturn Dasha gets active in the second house, we know this thing that second house is the house of the wealth, family, speech, and early upbringing. So, now what could we expect over here? See, friends, one thing is for sure that anything connected with the family lineage, ancestral wealth, inheritance is going to be somehow connected with this active Saturn in your second house. Like, I mean to say, if you are a part of a big family, joint family venture, and in your family, someone has to decide a successor. So, if you have Saturn active in the second house, there's a high possibility that that a legacy or that ancestral wealth will be passed down to you. Second thing is that Saturn being in the second house is generally seen as a very strong consolidating energy. I mean to say, even in India, I have seen many successful case studies that father was running a leather business or a food stall, but once the children or his son took over the business, he made it a multi-city franchisee. So I mean to say, that sort of consolidation kind of power, like hiring the people, building a team, building a network, a proper distribution network, and managing it well. So Saturn in the second house, Saturn in the 11th house, Saturn in the seventh house holds the key to that. So all of that could be possible. But yes, certain Antardasha are going to be very difficult. Saturn, Ketu, Saturn, Moon, Saturn, Rahu. So in these Antardashas, you have to be careful. So friends, the impact is going to be, this could be Dasha where, and sometimes I have also seen that you also get to be a part of the ancestral family karma as well. Like, this could be a case that you never even cared about your family lineage and all. You finished your studies, you moved to US and have a very comfortable job. But once Saturn Dasha gets active in the second house, somehow circumstances got aligned in a way that you visited your hometown, your Kul Devata village, and you were able to do some donations in the name of your Kul Devata, or do something which will bring glory to the family name, or which will make your ancestors happy and all. So, some sort of Pitri Karma, there's a possibility of doing that, making peace with it. So friends, the way I mentioned, the impact is going to be financial growth becomes slow and requires hard work. You may experience tight budget. Saturn is a very frugal energy. Saturn is not generous as Jupiter or luxury loving as Venus. So you may experience tight budget, delayed earnings, or heavy family responsibilities. Your speech becomes more measured, cautious, or stern. So, the outcome, friends, is that it teaches financial discipline, conservative money management, and self reliance, helping you build genuine long term wealth rather than quick gains. Now, friends, when we talk about Saturn getting, I'm sorry. Now, when we talk about Saturn getting active in the third house, so now a lot of the astrologers have appreciated this placement, like the way many entrepreneurs and self-made successful people have been seen with this placement of Saturn. So the core focus of this placement is going to be willpower, effort, communication, younger siblings, and short journey. Now, how it is going to be impacting you? So see friends, Saturn feels comfortable here because it's a Upachya house where Saturn grows stronger over time. You gain tremendous stamina, patience, and grit. Relationships with siblings or neighbors may require boundaries, but your capacity for focused work increases significantly. So, I'm sure, friends, you would have seen even on my channel many reels, YouTube shorts on this. Which all Saturn placement can make you a good businessman? Which all Saturn placement can make you a very good communicator? Or you could be very good in publishing, consolidating anything. So, all of that holds true to Saturn's placement in the third house. But again, friends, the way I mentioned, certain Antardasha like Saturn Ketu could actually bring some forced relocation, forced change. Saturn Sun could be a time when, or this could be in the Saturn Mars as well, Saturn Moon as well, that there will be some stress on the account of your network, your friends, or your sibling as well. So that is what you have to be mindful of when Saturn gets active in the third house. But compared to all other placements, I would say this is one of the decent placement of Saturn. And also, friends, like the way I mentioned, third house also tells about your personal style as well. So when you have Saturn active in the third house, it's a 19-year period. So don't experiment too much with it. I mean to say, you have to be very careful about what kind of signature style or how you are going to be perceived, and stick to that. Whatever you are communicating, okay, if you are a content creator, let's say for example, you are an astrologer like me, and what kind of image you want. Do you want to connect with your audience as a very traditional, very paramparic kind of orthodox kind of astrologer, or you want to connect with your audience with a very modern, out of the box kind of approach? So whatsoever you decide, stick with it. Saturn does not like too much fluctuation, which could be the domain of the moon. And Saturn is also not opportunistic like Mercury or like Rahu. So Saturn rewards when you are stable, when you are working with a far-sighted vision and you are patient with it. So that is all what I can say. So friends, the outcome is going to be, it is excellent for long-term projects, writing, technical skills, or initiatives requiring relentless persistence. Success comes through sheer unyielding personal effort. Now, friends, when we talk about Saturn's placement in the fourth house and Saturn getting active over there, so friends, we know this thing that the core focus in this 19-year for you is going to be the home, mother, inner peace, land, and the assets. Okay, so and how it is going to be impacting you. So this can bring feelings of emotional isolation or heavy responsibilities regarding property, home life, or in this could be some concerns or the account of the health of the family members. So real estate deals or home moves may face delays or bureaucratic hurdles. So see friends, the concern is that only if you can channelize. See, this is one such kind of placement where I would say that individually, what is the state of the moon? Now, let's say, for example, if your moon has got good Pakshbal, it is exalted, it is conjunct with Jupiter, it is placed in some favorable house, then this placement will give you that kind of resilience, that sort of endurance and staying power to withstand any challenges of the life. Because again, when it comes down to Saturn, whatever good or bad comes out of Saturn, it only comes out of lot of churning and lot of pressure. And the concern with this placement is that fourth house somehow governs our stability, how rooted, how grounded we are. Like the way we have seen many people, like no matter how many chaotic situations are going on in the life of that person, it did not destabilize him. That person managed his career well. That person managed his all family duties, responsibilities very well. Like you see that person, it becomes very difficult to judge. That person might be going through so much storm in his personal life. And they're like those people, one divorce happens, one job loss happens, they become alcoholic, they start getting into gambling, they start having extramarital affairs. So I mean to say how rooted and grounded you are. So fourth house actually plays a very pivotal role, and that is the only reason, friends, fourth house is the most underrated house. You These days everyone is running after the fame of the fifth house, or money and wealth from the second or the 11th house, success in the society. But irrespective of all of that, how rooted, how contented you are, that we get to know from the fourth house. So now talking about Saturn, Saturn can give you stability. Saturn can actually act as a consolidation factor. Like many people end up um, creating big businesses, finding that real estate success, finding success in the political sphere. Fourth house is the house of the masses. But the only concern is that how it is affecting your inner psyche. So for that, individually, I would say, because originally fourth house has a connection with the Cancer, with the moon. So individually, if your natal moon is strengthened, this Saturn active in the fourth house can actually give you very good results. So friends, the final outcome is going to be it forces you to cultivate internal stability rather than depending on external comfort. By the end, you establish solid property foundations and deep emotional resilience. So friends, I would say that in this placement of Saturn, certain Antardasha like Saturn Mercury is going to be very good, Saturn Venus is going to be very good, Saturn Jupiter is going to be very good. If individually your Mars is a good planet for you, like I mean to say, let's say for example, you are a Scorpio Lagna, right? And Saturn is placed in the fourth house, in the Aquarius, in its own sign. So even the Saturn Mars period could actually bring you some good results. But yes, when we talk about Saturn Ketu, when we talk about Saturn Moon, this is going to be the time when a lot of the internal anguish and pain you have to deal with. Now, this pain, again, the way I mentioned, if you have been watching this video right from the beginning, astrology is a science of decoding the time. If the time, running time is indicating pain, it could come from anywhere. Some people feel very shattered even after losing their pet. They mope so much that they would have actually lost a life partner or a parent. So I mean to say, if the running time is indicating pain, it will come in any different form. So Saturn moon could be a time to watch for. So yes, friends, that's all what I can say. But the good part of the Saturn being active in the fourth house is that the good part, it actually gives you potential to do a lot of the social work, give back to the society, and many anushthan ritual you can do around your living area and make peace with the Saturnian energy. Now, friends, when we talk about Saturn being active in the fifth house, so the core focus is going to be intellect, creativity, children, romance, and past life merit. So, friends, the concern over here is that beyond any doubt, in the original Kalpurush Kundli, or in many of the classics, Saturn's placement or Rahu's placement in the fifth house is not considered as very good, because we come from day and age where having a progeny, a successor, has been given utmost importance. So I mean to say, we know that in a way Saturn is a malefic planet, natural malefic planet. So it might not be very good when we talk about the living signification. So that goes without any saying. And the dignity of the Saturn will also tell about that what kind of karma and the account of the karma with which you are born in this lifetime. So fifth house placement of the Saturn, like the way many people also say that in the original Kalpurush Kundli, this house belongs to the sun because of the Leo. So that is the reason Saturn is not considered as good here. So it's not like that. Fifth house represents your intellect, your mindset, and it can actually give someone a very serious outlook and tone towards life. So there are many good and bad, but one aspect of the life which somehow remains sensitive is the aspect of the relationship with the children. So I always say this thing that, with certain people, their mindset is already like that. They're all the time conniving, plotting, wishing harm for other, feeling insecure, feeling jealous. So whatsoever is brewing up in your mind and turning it into actions will be somehow the experiences later on with your children. So if you want to be treated with respect, taken care by your children, stop acting on the ill thoughts, evil thoughts. That is very, very important. Saturn is very fair when it comes down to rewarding us or honoring us as an outcome of our own seeds, our own actions. So you have to be very careful over there. Beyond any doubt, this is kind of a placement which can actually make you a yogi. So people who become like a yogi, in certain cases, there is a term in India we use like Bal Brahmachari, a celibate, devotee, interest in yoga, interest in reading the like historical books, scriptures, expertise over mantras, sadhana, capacity to concentrate for long or have strong retention power. So all of that is possible. That goes without any saying. But yes, the living signification, somehow, see again, friends, because if you have Saturn in this placement, so like, your experiences in your love life, your experiences with the progeny is somehow going to be predetermined. There is going to be that aspect of the fate which will play a very pivotal role. With this kind of placement, I would say that I rarely see people like having those sudden speculative wins. Whatever happens in the life, it has to be earned through diligent hard work. So this is one such kind of placement which does not make someone overnight celebrity, overnight rich. That does not happen. You have to earn it. So now when we talk about the impact, friends, so romantic connections tend to be very serious, in certain cases delayed or emotionally distant. Higher education or creative endeavors demand intense analytical effort rather than spontaneous burst of inspiration, and parenting brings strict duties. Now, friends, when we talk about the outcome, so it structures your intellect and refines your talents. It turns unstructured creative ideas into systematic practical expertise, such as writing structured courses, strategic planning, or disciplined research. So, one thing I can say with confidence that if you have like planets like Saturn or planet like Ketu, so you could be one such person who can endure the hardship of the yogic life. Like when we talk about people who live in the mountains, in the caves, years of isolation in order to gain that self realization or perfection. So all of that is possible because Saturn gives you that retention and staying power. So that is the good aspect of it. So friends, when we talk about the whole 19 year long dasha, so the thing is that Saturn Mercury, Saturn Venus, Saturn Jupiter can demonstrate or manifest some literary hidden talents in this period of time. Saturn moon could be a time of pain which could come through any of the living relationship. If you are young, this could come in the form of a heart breakup with your lover, with your partner, with your spouse, or if you are of that age where you need to be supported and cared by your children, so the behavior of the children might not be as per the expected norms. So yes, Saturn, Ketu, Saturn, Rahu will be very, very fated time period. Very difficult to predict till the time I don't know the placement. Saturn moon is going to be time of difficulty. But when we talk about Saturn Mercury, Saturn Venus, even Saturn Jupiter, can actually be a time period of some demonstrating some real hidden talents. Now, friends, so I guess I have already mentioned that the outcome is, so you have to structure your like intellect and refine your talents, and life will give you these 19-year will give you a chance for that, potential for that. Now, friends, when we talk about sixth house, so you have Saturn in the sixth house, and it's 19-year long Dasha came. What to expect? So, friends, in a way, a lot of the qualities of the Saturn gets overlapped with the domain of this house. Like the way the core focus of this house is enemies, competition, challenges, debts, disease, daily work, and service. So, when we talk about Saturn gets active over here, so let's say, for example, if you're working as a lawyer, you're working as a crusader, you are working as a health fitness coach. So, this could be a successful time for you. Again, friends, the thing is that those who have Saturn in the sixth house, somehow their life is aligned in a way subconsciously, psychologically, their body is somehow adept to this lifestyle. And let's say, for example, even before Saturn Dasha, let's say, for example, your moon is receiving aspect from the planet Saturn, or I would not say moon being in the Saturn nakshatra, because then your birth first nakshatra, like birth first dasha, is going to be of Saturn. But in a way, if Saturn is influencing your moon through aspect, through conjunction, or Saturn is aspecting or conjunct with your ascendant lord, or your Saturn is your ascendant lord, so, or your moon sign lord, your moon is in Aquarius, your moon is in Capricorn, your moon is in Virgo. So, in a way, you are hardworking person. You are very disciplined kind of person. So, when this Saturn Dasha will get active, you might not have to go through major transition or transformation, because somehow you are psychologically, subconsciously adapted to this lifestyle. So the way I mentioned, friends, that the good aspect of this dasha is that it will actually give you a very strong like vision for the life, what you want to become, your work style, your work ethics. You will have a chance to refine it. Like rather than coming across as a person with superficial talents, you will have that capacity to gain that expertise in whichsoever field you are operating, you're working. This is the period when you can gain expertise in your line of work. And again, you are going to be seen as a very formidable force when it comes down to being very hard on your enemies or your competition. Like in any competitive situation, no one will take you lightly if your Saturn is going to be active in the sixth house. Along with that, friends, it also makes someone very dutiful. I have seen like especially when Saturn gets active in the sixth house, Saturn gets active in the eighth house, Saturn gets active in the 12th house. Many people, this could be a case that by default they are very charitable and they start doing a lot of the social work, or this could be a case that because life becomes so cumbersome, life starts bringing so many challenges that life forces these people to become very humble and start doing charities, social work, and start associating with the philanthropic work and all. So many people do this thing. And the thing is, the good part about Saturn's placement in the sixth house is that a lot of the times you would have come across people, they start some good habit and then they leave it in a while. They start going to gym, waking up early in the morning, or start eating healthy food, but they quit it after a while. But those who have Saturn in the sixth house, it somehow becomes like a part of your ritual, like a daily habit. So whatsoever good things you acquire, you have this capacity to make it like a routine, like a ritual. So yes, friends, so I would not say this thing that the sixth house active Saturn will not give you problems or will not give you health related issue. See, the thing is, sixth house in itself represents health. Sixth house in itself represents enemies. Sixth house in itself represents daily life, daily routines, right? Now, it all comes down to which side you are in. So, are you a doctor or are you a patient? So, are you a lawyer or are you a victim? So a lot is dependent on that because all these things will be active. And again, it all depends on the nature of the zodiac sign as well. Like this could be, let's say, for example, if you have Saturn in the sixth house in the Taurus sign, so health, eating habits. If it's in the Scorpio, then gymming, dealing with challenges, enemies, secret hidden enemies. If it is Leo, so something to do with the medicine, again, dealing with the doctors and all. So, but the good part is that this is the time which will give you expertise. That's the best part. That's the beauty of this active Saturn in the sixth house. So, friends, so this is a favorable placement because Saturn is aligned. There are many overlapping traits and qualities of the Saturn and the sixth house. This is also the Upachya Bhav as well. So, while you may face workplace friction, administrative challenges, or health issues requiring lifestyle changes, Saturn gives you the endurance to systematically overcome them. So, if I were to be very honest, friends, there are like certain periods which are going to be harsh, like immediate when the Saturn Dasha will begin. The first Antardasha of Saturn is going to be difficult. Saturn Moon could be difficult. Saturn Ketu could be difficult. So these are the Antardasha. But when we talk about Saturn Mercury, Saturn Venus, even to an extent Saturn Jupiter, they could actually bring some some good result, especially when we talk about in the health, in the fitness, in any challenging competitive kind of situation. And Saturn Rahu, Saturn Ketu are going to be extremely karmic. Like the enemies which will come in your life, the challenges which you will be dealing in that period is all going to be fated. You will not have much of the free will over there. So, friends, the outcome is that grants this dasha will grant you strong problem solving capabilities, immunity to opposition, and success in high pressure or detail oriented environments. You emerge victorious over debt and rivals. Now, friends, when we talk about Saturn being active in the seventh house, so friends, the core focus is going to be marriage, business partnership, and public interactions. Okay, now, when we talk about what is going to be its impact, so we know this thing that in the original Kalpurush Kundli, seventh house belongs to Libra, where Saturn attains exaltation. Saturn, in a way, wants to be in amidst the public and want to be solving everyone's problem. So, I mean to say, when we talk about doing something good in the public sphere, this could be a very good placement. When it comes down to consolidating your business, this is going to be very good for that as well. Like, let's say, for example, many times it happens that we say that, like, you acquired a family business. For long you have been trying to consolidate it or expand it, grow it. So Saturn being active in the seventh house can give you a chance to do that in its this active 19-year long period. So for any business consolidation, stable partnership and all, or doing something very good in the public sphere, this could be a very good placement. So, friends, we know that the impact is going to be Saturn gets the directional strength here. Relationship could be slightly heavy. So, the thing is, I would not say that Saturn will give you divorce or problems. No, it only creates problem if there is some superficiality or the relationship is not lot fair. I mean to say, if the relationship is very lopsided, one person is taking advantage of other person, or one person is overburdened with responsibility, another person is going very easy. I mean to say, if you have a joint share of shared responsibilities, accountability, deep karmic bond, this is going to be the time when the relationship will go much deeper. Like the way, friends, a lot of the times, like the kind of friendship which we develop when we are going through some hard times, difficult times, that is something which cherishes us or stays with us in our memory for long span of time. So Saturn being active in the seventh house represents that. So, but yes, the relationship might feel, they might feel very duty bound, or very, they might have a business kind of tone to it. So we say that marriage may happen later in the life, like the way, for example, it's a good placement. Let's say, for example, Saturn Dasha comes, you're already in your late 30s, in early 40s, and you are still single. Then Saturn can give you marriage. But let's say, for example, you are a Kark Lagna, Saturn is there in the seventh house, and you are trying to get married at the age of 21, 19, 24, not a very good recommended kind of decision, because it will bring many challenges in the first half of the life in the marriage relationship, because you might not have evolved, or you might not have that level of maturity. But again, it depends on individual to individual, evolutionary level of the soul, and your the consciousness, like the maturity of the mindset. So that can only be said after doing the whole analysis of the chart. But yes, for certain people who are a contender for a late marriage, late in their 30s, early 40s, so marriage may happen. It will involve a person who's going to be very practical, a provider, very mature. And business deals will move slowly, um, but they will demand very ironclad contract. So people you will get into touch with in this period of time, they will be like very particular about the details, and the contracts are going to be very demanding. I mean to say, where you have to work hard, you have to be involved, you cannot just delegate and have your good gala time. Saturn is active in the seventh house, you have to be out there amidst public, looking at and getting that primary data or feedback of your product, of your services, of your experiences. Then Saturn rewards you. If you think for the pain and well-being of a common man, common person, Saturn will make you rich, Saturn will make you famous. So friends, the final outcome of the Saturn being in the seventh house, I can say that it filters out fickle connections, leaving you with stable, reliable, and lifelong personal and professional partnership built on mutual respect and commitment. Now, friends, comes the most challenging kind of like um, combination, for which there have been many questions, there have been many like doubts in the mind of people, which is if Saturn will get active in the eighth house. If Saturn Dasha comes and Saturn is placed in the eighth house. Now we know this thing that the core focus of this period is going to be transformation, longevity, joint asset, research, and hidden matters. So how it is going to be impacting you? So friends, this 19-year long period can bring significant life shift, sudden delays, or confrontation with life's deeper vulnerabilities. Joint finances or inheritance matter require careful navigation. Mentally, it encourages deep inward reflection. So, friends, the thing is, I have seen like many people, even if they don't have any connection with astrology, with healing, or with occult, but Saturn being there in the eighth house is a typical ingredient of taking interest, or rather I would say excelling in the arts of healing. So if your Saturn gets active in the eighth house, so this could actually make you a healer. It can introduce you to the knowledge or to the mystical world of the occult, anything connected with research and all, anything connected with like some investigative work and all. So like you will have the capacity to do very well. And again friends, when we talk about like the matters of the life and death, and the secret understanding of the functioning of the universe, all those kind of things, like many people when they talk about nirvana, or getting out of the cycle of the life and death, and when you ask them to do those things or participate in those rituals, which might not be very clean, which might not be looked at with lot of like respect in the society, so they might recoil, they might like turn down, go back. But when we talk about Saturn being active in the eighth house, it somehow empowers you with that sort of energy and power, that those forces which might be very scary for a common man, that does not scare you. The matters of life and death, pain, chronic things, these things don't scare you. You actually want to know that what lies on the other side. So that level of innate curiosity comes. It empowers you in that aspect. So yes, friends, and again, when we talk about the start of the dasha is going to be filled with some sort of painful experiences, especially like let's say for example if Saturn gets active in the 8th house and you're a Aries Lagna, Saturn is there in the Scorpio in itself, so surgery, accident could be possible. Saturn is in the Cancer, Saturn gets active in the 8th house, so again some sort of heartbreak up, losing someone in your family, so all of that is possible. But let's say for example Saturn is placed in the Capricorn, in the 8th house, and it gets active, so sudden change in the career is possible. So again friends, a lot is dependent on that, but the good thing is that 8th house is the house of transformation. So in this 19 year, slowly, gradually, it will transform you. So again, this transformation is not going to be something which is going to be very sudden, very rapid, and again, you come back to normal. No, it is going to be slow, gradual development, transition, and transformation into something entirely new. So that sort of possibility is going to be there. And again friends, that goes without any saying, if you pick up any of those books like Nadi or Lal Kitab, so a lot is written about Saturn in the 8th house, like even the remedies they prescribe, go to a like cremation ground, and bury something under the ground, a pot filled with honey and many things they say. Or some people also talk about if you have Saturn in the 8th house in the past life, you have not done good deeds, good karma. It's not like that. When we talk about the past life, the karmas, for which we have to give very heightened attention to the panchang, the moon in itself, the influence on the moon. We have to look at the trine houses. We have to look at the ascendant lord. Then only you can come to any conclusion. Individually, just looking at the Saturn in the 8th house, you cannot come to this conclusion about someone's karma from the past or someone who might have done ill or evil deeds. It's not true. It's not the right way of approaching Jyotish of Vedic astrology. So I mean to say, yes, you have Saturn in the 8th house. And again friends, 8th house is the most powerful house. Like when we talk about people who perform miracles, all those miracle yogis which we have heard, and all those people who even after when they are gone, they are remembered, like rather they are worshipped. They are worshipped for their power, their contribution. So that is the kind of power which 8th house holds. And Saturn gives you that retention power, that even after when you are gone, your name will be remembered. So again, it's a double-edged sword, because 8th house also tells about that dark, evil intention and wishes, people who get involved into dark activities, and when their acts get exposed, it brings the shame to the whole humanity, to the whole society. So when it comes down to the 8th house, I would say that it's there couldn't be a clear kind of indication, a clear one line verdict which I can say about good and bad. But I would say that a lot is dependent on your free will as well. It's not like that 8th house Saturn getting active that means now you do not have a free will, everything will come down because of the sins done by you in the past life. So it's not at all true. It's not at all true. But yes, if your Saturn gets active in the 8th house, and you take interest in rituals, you take interest in penance, in sadhana, in meditation and all, or you do something which involves lot of research, so the positive or the benefit side of the Saturn in the 8th house can actually reward you. It can completely transform you. So people who open up big manufacturing industry, lay foundation to big industry and all of that is possible with Saturn being active in the 8th house or Saturn in connection with the 8th house. So all of that is possible. If I were to say Saturn Rahu in the 8th house, Rahu Dasha in the 8th house could be problematic. But if Saturn in the 8th house and being well supported by other factors, lot of good potential this placement holds. And especially it can grant you the power of healing, miracles, research, and occult powers in a way. Comes very handy with this kind of placement. Now, friends, so again, why I'm mentioning this thing? Because when we talk about people who get duped of millions in the name of the astrology, so a lot of those victims you find because of the 8th house Saturn. So Saturn Dasha started in the 8th house. So yes, life is not going to be very easy. There will be some challenging experiences which will happen in the joint resource, in the health, with the family. And those people who are very weak willed, they get swayed towards the um, like shortcuts or being conned by the charlatan, people who prey on their weakness or the vulnerable time they are going through. So that is what you have to be careful about, that you shall not fall prey to these kind of things. I always say when it comes down to Saturn, and the Saturn dasha, Saturn period, more than the actual remedies, it's the consultation, it's the counseling which is required, because you have to look at the brighter side of this placement as well. Saturn is the most, I would say, fair planet out of all the nine planets. Saturn is the most fair. So it will not do something in your life, it will not bring something in your life which is going to be uncalled for or unfair. Saturn is the planet of justice, so how can it do injustice to you, right? So just wanted to bring these points. So yes, friends, the outcome is going to be, the impact is going to be that it brings significant life shift, sudden delays, or confrontation with life's deeper vulnerabilities. Joint finances or inheritance matters require careful navigation. Mentally, it encourages deep inward reflection. Now, the outcome is going to be it promotes longevity, psychological depth, and mastery over complex, hidden, or analytical subjects, such as research, occult sciences, or crisis management. Now, friends, when we talk about Saturn being active in the ninth house dasha of the Saturn comes. So we know that the core focus is going to be higher wisdom, philosophy, father, long distance, travel, and spirituality. So, friends, the thing is, a lot of the times it has been seen that the work related responsibilities bring many travel opportunities, or it also grants you a foreign settlement option as well. So that I have seen happening in the life of many people who tend to have Saturn in the ninth house. The only concern is that Saturn has got that Sambhan Shakti, that restraining power. So it can somehow restrains the prospects of the luck as well. Like nothing will come easy to you. So let's say, for example, if before this you were in the Jupiter Dasha, things were moving very fast, and wherever you go, you get mentored, you get guided by people around you. So once Saturn will get active in the ninth house, you have to earn that. Beyond any doubt, whether Saturn in the fifth house or the ninth house, so Saturn can give you interest in reading like yogic text. It can give you interest in mantras, chanting, yoga, spirituality, meditation. It can bring interest in all of that. See, friends, the good part is that ninth house is the house of the divinity. And when we talk about Saturn, see, Saturn is not like Jupiter, where whatsoever is written in the holy books, that is like the biblical truth. There is no question to that. Saturn actually wants to understand like the reality of it, how much it is like close to the realism, and how could you like experience that. Saturn is the planet of reality and the experience, the eternal truth. So I mean to say, in this regard, in the initial phases, this might make you like a kind of a devil's advocate towards everything divine or spiritual. But later on in the same dasha, these are the people who become the firm believer, because they have tested it and they have found the truth in it. They have found the nectar of truth in it. So we can look at it this way. Many people are publish some big franchisee, three book series, three movie mega series, those directors, those producers, those publishers. So all of that is possible. Saturn gives you that capacity to work hard, that far-sighted distant vision, and that consolidating kind of power, to make different part or verticals of the society, bridge them together, make them come together, and utilize, extract everyone's expertise to develop or create some mega project. So Saturn has got that capacity. So friends, eventually, if I were to say in this 19-year long dasha, so it challenges conventional belief or dogmatic teachings. Relationship with father or mentors may feel distant or formal. Long journeys or higher education require rigorous effort and face scheduling delays. So, friends, the outcome is going to be it replaces the blind faith with practical experience. It replaces the blind faith with practical, experiential wisdom. You build your own personal code of ethics and achieve lasting respect through deep knowledge. So, friends, certain dasha, like in this Saturn Mercury, Saturn Venus, Saturn Jupiter, to an extent even Saturn Rahu can bring some literary kind of talents or capacity to travel, work related opportunity, grant of scholarship, grant of some awards, recognition, titles. All of that is possible through diligent hard work is possible. I would say Saturn Moon uh, might give you some sort of enigma, like confusion regarding your path, chosen path. Saturn Sun could create issue with the authority, ideological differences, and all. Saturn Mars, again, it depends on what role Saturn plays or Mars plays in your chart. So then we have to take that with a pinch of salt. But yes, in most of the cases, Saturn being active in the ninth house, I have seen people like, especially the art and people connected with artistic and creative line, doing some mega work, some creating some magnum opus work is possible in this active Saturn dasha, and somehow work related opportunities actually take you to the foreign land for foreign settlement, many travels and all is possible with this kind of placement. And again, when we talk about, you will not drift towards just the, like, people who are just having that divine robe. You'll not be only attracted, drifted towards that. You'll be drifted towards personal sacrifice or people who have actually earned to be in that place. So that sort of knowledge, wisdom is something which will fascinate you. You're not going to be like a blind follower. You will drift more towards the sacrifice and true transcendental knowledge. The eternal truth will fascinate you more in this period. Now, friends, when we talk about Saturn being active in the 10th house, so that goes without any saying. This is the house of the career, public status, authority, and karma. Saturn in its natural house of action. So the professional growth is steady. It will demand long hours and immense accountability. Shortcuts will backfire. The way we say that if you work hard, like consistent work builds an unshakable reputation. So, friends, if I were to say, when Saturn gets active in the 10th house, by the end of this 19-year period, it will actually understand this thing that every house has got a certain theme attached to it. Here we are not only talking about a specific period. Here I'm giving you a gist, a synopsis of the whole 19-year. Like the way I mentioned, Saturn being there in the 8th house will be challenging. But at the end of the 19-year, you will be like a rising phoenix, like you will be completely metamorphosized or completely transformed. Same is the way the 10th house Saturn hold this power that some sort of legacy, authority, consolidation in your line of work is possible when Saturn gets active in the 10th house. And again, when we actually talk about administrative power, judicial power, political power, all of that is somehow connected with Saturn. Now, to what extent? Like, are you going to be just holding a power in a specific municipality or in the whole, like a proper, like a people who even in the corporates who become like a Asia Pacific head or a continent or a regional head? So all of that is dependent on the power of the chart, power of the kundli. And again, friends, understand this thing: when Saturn gets active in the 10th house, be aware that life will put you in those situations which is aligned with your destiny. Like, you will not come across those cases, oh, I wanted to become an actor and I spent my whole life in corporate. I wanted to be in the sales, I ended up my whole life being in IT. It's not going to be that case. If your Saturn is going to be placed in the 10th house, and its dasha will also come in this life period, especially um, at the time period when generally people are seen as of workable age, like from 25 to 65. If in this period of time Saturn dasha comes, Saturn is in the 10th house, be mindful that life will put you in a situation or in those fields which are aligned for you. that karma, that actions were aligned for you. And yes, if work hard, if you will diligently work hard and be honest, be loyal in your line of work, be grateful for your work. So by the end of this period, you will have some sort of authority or kind of a consolidated space in your career for sure. Now, friends, when we talk about Saturn being active in the 11th house, so friends, 11th house, we know that it's the house of the income, long term gains, social network, and aspirations, right? Your dreams. So when Saturn gets active in the 11th house, so beyond any doubt, this is one of the best placement of the planet Saturn. So the way it has been explained, friends, in the scriptures, that this is the Upachya Bhava, this is the house of the rewards. So many astrologers also say this thing that you have already passed the test and trials of the Saturn in the past lifetime. That is the only reason you have got Saturn in the 11th house. See, look at it in this way. When we talk about the inner planets, planet like Moon is very easy to please. Planet like Mercury, Venus, to an extent even Guru, Jupiter is easy to please. But it is very, very difficult to get a clearance certificate from Saturn. And if you have Saturn in this birth, in this lifetime in the 11th house, that in itself is a sign that somehow your actions, your deeds are meritorious, are of to that level of excellence that in this lifetime big consolidation, growth, expansion is going to be possible. And all the traits connected with the Saturn, somehow, like the way a lot of the times I come across those charts where people have Saturn badly placed in the chart, and oh my god, they all the time complain, Nippon, you would not believe, whenever I hire help in my business, they end up stealing from me, they end up disrespecting me, even when they quit they bad mouth about me, this and that. But let's say, for example, if you have Saturn in the 11th house, all the attributes connected with Saturn will somehow respond towards your gain, towards your recognition. So in that way it is a good placement. And again, people whose income compound with the period of time, so this is also responsible for that. See, when we talk about, see, Saturn, we say that eighth house is the house of, for example, eighth house is the house of the fluctuation, sudden development. We say when Saturn is in the eighth house, it gives you long life. It slows down the fluctuation or suddenness. Same is the way when we talk about the 11th house, the gains might be slightly slow, but over time they grow rapidly. So again, when you are dealing with Saturn, you don't deal it or you do not assess it on the day basis or week basis. You see it, observe it, like in what happened in the last 4 years, what happened in the last 5 years, where have I reached in the last 7, 8, 10 years. So I mean to say in this regard that compounding impact of Saturn being in the 11th house is going to be very much in your favor. So yes, friends, when we talk about for anything connected with spirituality, or like, I have also seen many families where the elder sibling acted like a parent and took care of his younger siblings. So all of that is possible when you have Saturn in the 11th house. Like, life takes you towards those group, those network circle where people are going to be very serious, very practical, very mature, and they guide you in the right direction. So all of that is possible. So yes, friends, the impact is going to be the premier Upachya house for Saturn. Financial rewards and network growths are delayed in the initial years, but steadily compound over time. Friendships become smaller, focused on high quality practical connections. So the final outcome is that it leads to substantial, lasting financial gains, stable income streams, and the fulfillment of major long term ambitions through steady accumulation. And lastly, friends, when we talk about Saturn being in the 12th house, so friends, if Saturn Dasha comes, Saturn being in the 12th house, first of all, understand this thing that, see, I feel very, very sad and bad to say this thing, that somehow you have to be mindful and accountable that in this lifetime, a lot of the recognition, for your actions will not come instantaneously. Like the way 12th house acts like a vacuum, it sucks away things from us. But again, look at it in this way. The way people talk about, the way people talk about that, I did this thing to my friend and he helped me. I did this thing for my sibling and they helped me. Friends, 12th house is the house of the universe, that divine help, that divine aura which is always around you. So you might not feel, that the judgment or the justice which comes from the 12th house is it's extremely fair. I mean to say, no matter in how many of the okay, people only remember the bad instances, bad feedback, but the way it's the same case with me. Even if I get 100 good comments, I don't remember all of them. But if I get too scathing or too negative, bad comment, that somehow sticks to my memory. So I mean to say, this is what people have, like they have this kind of mindset. But you have to understand this thing, that if you have Saturn in the 12th house, whatever you are doing or whatever good you are doing in the society, it is getting stored in those Akashic universe cosmic records, and it will come to your aid at the right opportune time. Like we all have seen that a flight crash was about to happen and a family was not able to board that flight. Somehow something happened, there were some forces which were stopping them. So that's like the cosmos are protecting them, and that is the only reason. People who have Saturn in the 12th house, people who have Ketu in the 12th house, these are the people who become yogi, people who become like guru, people who become like brahmachari, because they don't, their ultimate giver, ultimate security straight away comes from the universe. And they are so empowered. That is the only reason we say this thing, that the bad dasha or the bad planetary placement or the bad planetary period can be removed, or a relief can come through the blessing of a fakir, through the blessing of a like a sadhu. So that is what the power which the 12th house holds. So again, friends, I will come down to the practical outcome result, because I'm sure all that spiritual stuff is not going to be getting applicable in everyone's life. So the point which I'm trying to say over here is that if you have Saturn in the 12th house, I have met so many people who complain that no matter how much I do for other people, how much I do in my career, I never get credit for it. So that is what their main problem is. But again, in the Saturn period, life is the most fair. It couldn't be more fair in any other period than of the Saturn period. So the result of that will not come visible in your surrounding, but it is getting stored where it will come to your aid at the most required time. That is what I'm trying to say. And yes, friends, Saturn active in the 12th house. If your fourth house is afflicted, second house is afflicted, better move away from your birthplace. If you will relocate to a foreign land, it will give you many major opportunities for growth, or career opportunities will come to you. People who become like, who gain siddhis, who take interest in meditation, out of the body experiences, prophetic dreams, vision, all of that happen. And again, when Saturn is in the 12th house, no whichsoever houses Saturn is ruling, you have to be very discreet, very secretive about that as well. If Saturn is like ruling your second house and the 11th house, so don't reveal all of your financial investments, financial plans to everyone. If Saturn holds, or like Saturn owns your fourth, I'm so sorry, Saturn cannot rule second or 11th, because Saturn rules two consecutive houses. So if Saturn rules your second house, third house, if Saturn rules your fourth house, fifth house, or Saturn rules your like ninth house, 10th house, so the regarding the affairs of that house, you have to be secretive. Friends, I would say that in this dasha, like Saturn Mahadasha, so Saturn Mercury, Saturn Venus, um, Saturn, Jupiter can bring those things which we all want, like, career success, academic success, marriage, relationship, having your own house, and all. So, all of that can happen away from the birthplace in a foreign land. All of that is possible. And when we talk about the actual, like the way we say that Saturn Ketu, Saturn Rahu, Saturn Moon, so these are going to be the period where it is going to be slightly discomforting, But if a person is spiritually aligned, it will add more fuel to your fire. So let's say, for example, in any case, you were very spiritual minded, you have had that yogic mindset. And in the Saturn moon, like the inner life of yours or the surrounding life of yours or people in your personal, like your orbit, they started creating a lot of the problems that somehow it made you more spiritual. Now you're more detached from the drama and it made you more spiritual. So all of that is possible. But yes, friends, in a way, if I were to say foreign investments, foreign settlement, heightened interest in spirituality, meditation, self-sacrificing nature, charitable nature could be the outcome in the 19-year long period when Saturn gets active in the 12th house. So yes, 12th house theme is of solitude, expenditure, foreign land, spirituality in subconscious mind. Its impact is going to be when Saturn will get active in the 12th house in the 19-year period, it will increase expenses, often related to obligations of foreign matters. You may feel drawn towards solitude, meditation, or working behind the scenes. Sleep patterns or routines may need restructuring. The outcome for you is going to be it encourages deep spiritual detachment, reduced worldly anxiety, and success in foreign environment. We say that institutional work or behind the scene research. So friends, again, the core principles for any Saturn placement is the delay principle. We know that, right? Saturn delays, but it does not deny. What is gained during Saturn Dasha through honest effort is rarely lost afterward. You have to also take into consideration Saturn's drishti as well, third drishti, 10th drishti, where it sits, and the functional nature. So again, a lot of things which I said over here, it will get vary. The result will tone down based on the zodiac sign placement, but yes, results will definitely come from the house in its dasha where it is placed, what I have explained to you. So yes, friends, this is something which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. Once again, thanks a lot for watching this video, and for further more updates and notification on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on my Instagram account. Thank you.